know what? I'm gonna say an unpopular thing. I said before. I'm gonna say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Someone who wanted to see just how far Starbucks liberal guilt would go. His video has gone completely viral, so we asked comedian provocateur Brian Sharp to join us this evening, and there he is. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Yo, what up? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another video. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, and I've been telling y'all, man, like all of this nonsense, these non-degreed alleged red pill psychologists, especially when they're trying to dictate this stuff to young black dudes, they're trying to find impressionable minds like 360, right? Like Blessings 360. And if you saw my reaction video, you know that I called these people Sambo manufacturing plants. All right. And here's a perfect example. This is a video from from Confidence Creator, and I've reacted to Confidence Creator before. Confidence Creator talked about the disgusting stuff that Myron Gaines, the alleged black man, said about black women on Fresh and Fit podcast. And here goes him showing some zaddy worship. So let's get into it.
You know what? I'm gonna say an unpopular thing. I said before. I'm gonna say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Just keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action, all these things we have in place. It's overcorrected.
Nobody hates white men. First and foremost, you have countries in Asia, and you actually have countries in, I think, in the Pacific that actually worship white people as if they're gods. They literally actually worship them. I forget who it was that died from the royal family, but the New York Post actually gave an article about on this island where these people who worship this royal white family were very sad, and you know they did rituals because whoever these particular white individuals were died. All right, so there's nobody out here that hates white men. You know what I'm saying? That's an uncomfortable truth for you. Nobody wants to work with black people, other minorities. Other minorities are working through the systems that white men set up to keep black people as a whole at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. You can't own all of the resources in the entire world, have our continent or everywhere where black people are completely militarily and economically occupied, and somehow you're oppressed. I'm sorry. That, my friend, is just not quite true. Let's get it.
Point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man.
Where are white men being ostracized from? Someone please let me know. Where is it that white men are not allowed to go? If anything, black people ostracize black people more than anybody else. Black people have so many of our own internal problems that we have to fix as a result of white men that we don't even have time to do anything to white men. The people who are canceling other white men are other white men, like fat liberals like Michael Moore, or crack smoking idiots like Joe and Hunter Biden. But you have this pseudo black man here, this blackfish, saying all this. It's very interesting. I'd like to know what black man has ever counseled a white man. Bill Cosby is still playing around with him in court, still playing around with R. Kelly. You saw what just happened to the baby. What white man has been censored like the baby? The only white people that are getting in trouble that need to get in trouble are barely getting in trouble, barely putting Harvey Weinstein in jail, barely putting Jeffrey Epstein in jail. He didn't even last, what? He didn't even last a week. What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
Yeah, this is a dating channel, and I've got a career off YouTube. so I really can't talk about this kind of stuff.
I got a career off YouTube too, and I'm gonna say whatever I want, and I dare them to say anything because speaking of free speech, white people can talk about whatever the hell they want to. So I'm gonna too.
And on most days, I wouldn't take the time out for a video like this. But
Today I got time, cuz.
so today we're gonna be reacting to Myron Gaines saying white men have it the toughest, and we're starting.
Basically, I'll tell you guys the truth. Uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. The common enemy.
Uncomfortable truth. Red pill. Remember that. Uncomfortable truth, right? Uncomfortable truth. Just like the uncomfortable truth is that Myron and that white guy at that table believe that your IQ is 80. You know, you may be a Mensa member and you probably have more college education than everybody sitting at this table, but you need to accept your uncomfortable truth that your IQ is 80. Okay. Remember, uncomfortable truth
is the white man. That's what everyone is trying to say. Oh, they have all the privileges. You're white privilege. You're white man. If you're a white male, heterosexual, WASP, you are a public enemy.
White males, not all white males, okay? Because all white males aren't in position to even be powerful, but there are some powerful white males in the world. White males own every single military weapon. They own the nuclear weapons that can blow up the planet. They own all of the telecommunications infrastructure. We have two white men trying to own a damn planet. Tell me one business on the S&P 500 that's owned by a black person, Myron Gaines. Tell me one company on the NASDAQ that's owned by a black person, Myron. Tell me one African nation that has more nukes than a European or Asian nation, Myron. Tell me one person of color who was one of the founding fathers that wrote Jim Crow and black codes, Myron. I didn't think so. Pseudo intellect.
I mean, number one in the United States
It's
nowadays.
tough out
I'm
here.
saying this as
It's
a colored
tough.
guy. It's tough
It's
out here
tough.
for them. So
You're a colored guy, not a black guy. So whatever's going on with you and your situation, that's you and your situation. Most people don't talk as a colored guy.
what they're gonna do is they're gonna attack them, right?
Nobody's attacking white men with nuclear weapons. Nobody's doing that. Who's doing that? White men that beat the crap out of black people's kids, you know, the ones called the police, don't even get attacked. Why would anybody just go up and attack a random white person just because of situations that have been going on for as long as 400 years? You sound insane.
This is exactly what Hitler did. Hey,
Hitler attacked other white people. You know, that whole thing that doesn't happen. White on white crime. That was a pretty big damn white on white crime. Wouldn't you say what went on in Germany?
let's find a common enemy. We unite against them, and then bang, say that we're.
That's the problem. Unite against them. For one, there's nobody unifying with black people. Why don't you name me one group that's unifying to do anything to help black people? There's groups that are trying to co-opt with black people to be parasites from our movements, but there's nobody trying to unify with us. Myron, you as a colored guy, as you call yourself, should know that.
We're being, what's the word? Like we're in a position of they have all the power. We're not in a position of power. Let's unite and take them down.
Yeah.
We're oppressed, right? So white men are the common enemy, and then feminism, minorities, transgenders, etc. They just unite together because they know that if they.
So this is how you know that Myron Gaines is completely clueless. What feminism and minorities do people who consider themselves pro-black or B1 unite with? I know people who consider themselves B1 and pro-black, and they don't align themselves with any of that. So what are you talking about?
They all work together, they'll be able to take down the alleged evil white male. But I'm here to tell you guys that I think affirmative action a lot of times is BS.
Well, then you should tell those women who get on your show about it, Myron, because affirmative action benefits the women that look like the women that come on your show. Affirmative action benefits white women the most.
You should be hired on your merit, not on the color of your skin or what's in between your pants.
Well, next time you have a table full of guests, before Abba takes control of your show, why don't you let them know about affirmative action? And you can also let them know about those food stamps that they hog up too.
Some bullshit.
That's because the reason you think that is because you're approaching this from a masculine understanding of what respect is.
Now that I've spoken, your new zaddy savior, well, I mean, it must be so. Nobody's speaking from a term of oppression. We're speaking from what's called mathematics and economics, and also collected data at the U.S. Library of Congress. The Title V or Title IX legislation that divvies out affirmative action keeps track of all of this information. So just because I can get on there and talk like this and, and be as professional as I want to be and quiet and passive aggressive and find these, weak, impressionable minority men and get them to believe everything that I say. I have a nice little police force for myself.
Right? It is a meritocracy.
I'm not touching that white man comment. Y'all not about to get me canceled. But let's talk about affirmative action. In a perfect world, we shouldn't need affirmative action.
Well, the only problem is, Confidence Creator, is that man who was just on the screen, his idea of a perfect world is a world where I'm white and I say so is the only law of the land. That's the problem.
But this isn't a perfect world. In a perfect world, I should be able to exceed all the qualifications for a job and get picked. But we both know Brad Miller, a white name on a resume with less qualifications, is more likely to get picked for a job than Darnell Johnson with more qualifications on his resume. And here's some uncomfortable truth. I'm not even mad at it because I'm calling Darnell over Brad any day because I want to be around people that look like me. And I also want to help my people.
The main problem with the black community from a white people perspective is Democrat policies.
More nonsense. Because for one, most black people don't even identify as Democrats. If you're black and you're in the room, do you agree with Hotep Jesus as he's sitting here in front of these zaddies telling them that we all vote Democrat? I'm pretty sure if you listen to anybody who considers himself pro-black or B1 or whatever, nobody's out here telling anybody to vote Democrat because they're the two sides of the same token. Two sides of the same token. Democrat policies hurt black people. And conservatives hate black people. So we're isolated. So we're not riding with anybody. But you get a little bit of money and, hey, come on our show and just say anything. And that's what they do.
They're the ones. If you go look at all the inner cities, they all run by Democrats, right? And then they turn around and say, "Oh, it's not us that's the problem. It's racism." Who? Earl with the pickup truck and the Confederate flag that works at, JD's Auto Parts.
Yeah,
he's
another black face for white supremacy.
Not affecting.
He ain't affecting anything.
He ain't affecting.
You.
I'm an independent, so I call out bullshit when I see it.
Facts. So what you have now is you had that dude Hotep Jesus and you got Myron Gaines sitting there in front of their zaddy lying about black people because, as you can see, like Confidence Creator said, oh, he's an independent. And if you ask most black people will tell you that they're independent. But again, if it's not I'm white and I say so, I'm white and I say you're a Democrat, well, nobody's a damn Democrat. Joe Biden is the Democrat, and guess what color he is? He's a white man.
On the right or left. But according to Hotep, only poor white people are racist. But was Earl from the auto shop responsible for redlining? I don't think so.
The HOLC created residential security maps, and these maps, they're where the term redlining comes from. Green meant best area, best people, aka businessmen. Blue meant good people, like white-collar families. Yellow meant a declining area with working class families. And red meant detrimental influences, hazardous, like foreign-born people, low-class whites, and most significantly, Negroes. Again and again on these HOLC maps, one of the most consistent
read it, white people and Negroes. You think a black person wrote that about themselves? Wake up.
Criteria for redline neighborhoods is the presence of black and brown people. Let's be clear. Studies show that people who lived in redlined areas were not necessarily more likely to default on their mortgages, but redlining made it difficult, if not impossible, to buy or refinance.
And what about the people that benefited from redlining? Not the people that were locked out of stuff, but what about the people that were able to buy stuff at a premium, at a discount, sell at a premium, buy at a discount? Financial manipulation.
The Fair Housing Act wasn't passed until 1968. And once again, I don't subscribe to the victim Olympics. If we got to work twice as hard, then we'll work twice as hard. But the Civil Rights Act ending segregation happened in 1964. And just because segregation ended doesn't mean the hate stopped. My dad was born in 1963, so most of our parents and grandparents.
How does that affect anyone alive today? You're dealing with people that allegedly have such a high IQ that can't do basic addition and subtraction, ladies and gentlemen.
Lived through segregation. So I really dislike when people try to discount racism like it happened 400 years ago. And some of you are wondering, who's the black guy? Roll the clip.
Go. Come on, start the car. We're leaving.
Angle. I told you about someone who wanted to see just how far Starbucks liberal guilt would go. His video has gone completely viral, so we asked comedian provocateur Brian Sharp to join us this evening, and there he is. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Laura, how are you?
You totally fooled me, okay? Because I played this on my radio show this morning. My producers and I were screaming. We're like, this sounds... If I didn't know better, it sounds like you sound like Chris Rock. I mean, it's so funny, and that poor girl in Starbucks is ready to turn.
How did he sound like Chris? This is what I'm saying. Like this is insane. And then like to just be sitting there, oh hi, hi, how you doing? I'm so happy to be here on Fox. I feel so at home. Like, what? Man, I would have checked the fuck out of her when she said I look like Chris Rock. I don't look like that, nigga. Are you serious? I got long-ass dreadlocks. We're not the same color. And I don't look or sound like him. Chris Rock got a thick New York accent. This dude up here, Hotep Jesus, don't even have an accent. He sounds like he from either the Midwest or Middle America.
Turn over the keys to the shop to you. She was so worried. But tell me why you did what you did by asking for reparations going into that Starbucks and saying, I want my free coffee for what you did basically in Philly. She said, oh, okay, I'm giving you the coffee.
He's the guy that went viral by going into Starbucks and convincing a white female employee that Starbucks was giving out free coffee as reparations. And to that I say, you got too much time on your hands, bro.
Right. Not only that, but what if you got that girl fired? Because she was like, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck I need to do. And then she fucked around and gave your ass coffee. Then you fuck around and get her fired. And then her ass starts to feel some kind of way about black people because your dumb ass went in there and got her fired. Did you ever think about that stupid ass shit? Did Laura Ingraham happen to interview you at that angle? Isn't it the angle with Laura Ingraham? Should be Laura Immigrant. Laura Ingraham. The angle. Did she angle that question at you?
Get some help.
And bro, you just went to the wrong Starbucks. You should have tried the Starbucks these guys went to.
The manager said that per store policy, they couldn't since they didn't buy anything. When they wouldn't leave, she called police.
A group of males refusing to leave.
Some witnesses say the officers overreacted.
We're just sitting there quietly, sitting on their phones, like chatting, like just like everyone else in Starbucks was.
Philadelphia's police commissioner says the officers didn't do anything wrong.
Another black face for white supremacy. Look at him. He looks like he just had a stroke. He's under Zaddy's spell. All I know is we needed to arrest them.
Followed policy. They did what they were supposed to do.
The men who don't want to be identified by name were held in custody for 8 hours before they were released. Prosecutors didn't file charges, but their defense lawyer says this wasn't about the law. It was about bias.
Yeah, and that Starbucks, you would have got locked up for just sitting. And then you said this, which I thought was kind of stupid.
If you're a black man, as I am, in America, they will not hand you a microphone unless you follow the liberal narrative.
Can someone tell him he's on Fox News? And I don't think the microphone gets any bigger than that for
Right. Exactly, bro. Exactly.
conservatives.
You know what? I'm gonna say an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action. all
So now it's so funny when all of these people that used to say that I was insane. Oh, Rob, you're insane. You're crazy. Red pill and white supremacy, red pill and racism. They don't have anything to do with each other. What are you talking about with your 68 IQ? Isn't your head smoking from your brain trying to work so hard? You're not coming up with anything with your dumb black ass. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then this happens, and now all of a sudden all these people are watching my content.
these things we have in place,
most hated.
it's overcorrected to the point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man. We want to hire colored people. We want to hire women.
Serious question, y'all. Why do we even need to hire colored people and women?
Bro, you're black.
Oh, yeah, because I need a job.
We want to, if you're a colored woman, you're going to be, there's a higher problem.
CRT is a Marxist tool. I'm going to tell you something about these conservative cucks. Marxism is a critique. Critical race theory is a critique. A critique isn't canceling. This video is a critique. This video isn't canceling. But you know what white supremacist far-right conservatives like these people do? They go get your channel banned. They go in Discord and they go get their whole troll armies from 4chan and 8chan and Twitter, and they all start reporting your account. Guess what? You're not going to talk now, N-word. Didn't do. Because these guys like this white zaddy here and this self-proclaimed colored guy, they like to call black people like me and Confidence Creator din-dos. You know, Philando Castile, he was a din-do. He didn't do nothing. Tamir Rice was a din-do. He didn't do nothing. George Floyd's a din-do. It's one of the tribes of spear-chucking din-dos. Interesting. Now everybody knows about it.
Probability that you're going to get hired for a job, you know what I'm saying, over a white male.
I guess that's another reason why Myron dislikes black women. Because they
bingo, you win the prize.
Get hired over white men.
Allegedly. We've done all this pretty much to mitigate white male influence. I get it. Oh, they had all the power, so now we got to correct for it. All right, cool. We've overcorrected now.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Where did we overcorrect? What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
It's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit.
What Caucasian men are getting treated like shit? Caucasian men can go to any Asian country and get and women will drop the draws for no reason, just because they're white. A whole line of Asian women will just drop draws simply because your skin is white. Asian people will just, give you all kinds of extra service because they worship white people. Please tell me one place on this planet, which is ironic because there's more of us of it than everybody else on this planet. But tell me one place on this planet where white people aren't worshipped like gods. Are you serious? What you want more privilege? Are you serious? You want minority benefits and privilege? Seriously? White people are the reason why everybody has all these stereotypes and why there happens to be a damn world dysphoria of people all over the place where they're not supposed to be. We have people that got kicked out of Germany. We got people that got shipped out of Africa. Who did all of that? What color were those people? Was it LeBron James and Jay-Z who did that? Was that who it was?
In today's day and age.
It is.
I'm gonna speak for them. Because they can't even say, if they say, they're gonna be like, you're white privilege. All this extra bullshit. It's like,
no, we can say all of this stuff without saying it. I don't think I've mentioned white privilege once. I think that actually in this discussion, I don't think Confidence Creator mentioned white privilege. Pretty sure I didn't mention white privilege. I'm pretty sure you're the first one that mentioned it. And as a pseudo melanated man, you're really upset about it.
Let's correct me if I'm wrong, but white privilege is a simple concept. It simply means you're not poor because you're white. Now that doesn't mean white people can't be poor. It just means you're not poor because of your race. And that's how I've explained it to my Caucasian friends. Just like pretty privilege.
You're better than me because I don't explain this shit to my Caucasian friends.
It doesn't mean pretty people can't be poor. It simply means you're not poor because you look like Fresh.
Yeah, I hit her up on
that first.
Fresh looks poor, no doubt.
Super chat. What do you say? I wanted to tackle that one, the $5 one.
Yeah, bursting with
that one.
I
don't like that term. Yeah, I don't like that term. Critical race theory. History either happened or it didn't. So here's the funny part.
Okay,
you see,
critical race theory is not the same as Black history. Hotep Jesus, don't be a liar. Critical race theory is an academic framework based on examination of court cases. Black history is Black history. Don't be a liar.
The white liberal called us the N-word.
There we go. Listen, these people cannot argue without bringing policies and politics and all this stuff in it. They cannot do it. Pay attention. Let's exploit all of these fake narratives. Talking about a red pill while they're on the Fresh and Fit podcast, creating a brand new matrix. This is the matrix that y'all saw 360 blessings stuck in. This is the matrix he was stuck in. Now, you white people who were in the comments getting all mad because he was apologizing to black people, this is why he was apologizing to black people, because of all of this anti-black hate right here in this festering pus bubble in Miami.
Word. And when they called us the N-word, they turned around later and turned it into a class. They turned it into a science. They turned it into an industry. They turned it into a market.
These people are using StreamYards to stream this. And the question that I have to ask, they're using StreamYards and they're using virtual OBS virtual camera also. So if you're using StreamYards and OBS virtual camera, there should be some citation put up on the screen to back up what Hotep Jesus is saying. Where's the citation that shows any of this? It sounds good. And, you know, you got Zaddy there. He's probably really proud. His cheeks are probably rosy. You know what I'm saying? But where's the proof? Where's the proof?
They called us the N-word, then turned around and sold it back to us. Called it critical race theory. So they took their own.
No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. That's not what happened at all. Nowhere in history did that happen. If anybody sold anything, black people should have bought the damn N-word and start charging everybody else to use it. And look at this. Damn, Hotep is a master word conveyor. That felt powerful. That's probably because you happened to sit down forcefully on a vertical dildo that was on your bed, idiot.
Own history of racism, their own white liberal Democrat history of racism. And then they turned around and commodified it.
So these are like what you would call somewhat similar to the internet boule. You know what I'm saying? The black gatekeepers of white supremacy. All right. This has happened all throughout time. There's always a class of black men who work hand in hand with white male supremacists to uphold the system. This was going on back in Africa. It's one of the reasons why everything fell apart in Africa.
They made it a product, something they can sell, something they can package, something they can ship, something they can sell you. And we bought it. Everybody went out and bought it, especially during the 2016 election cycle under Trump, right? Everybody bought into this whole thing about racism. But that's the slickness of the white liberal. To take your oppression and then sell it.
So
and now let's talk.
So then you got to ask, then why did white liberals and white Republicans team up to shoot and kill Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? Does that make any sense?
They oppress you and then sell it. That's what the white liberal does. Then what?
No, that's what the white government does. That's what the system of illegitimacy does. Not no damn white liberal, not no damn white conservative. They're the same. They're the same. They're the same. There's no difference. There's no difference.
What they do is they deflect and blame the others.
And that's how they keep you in a deranged state of internal politics. So they're working together. You're looking at it as deflection when it's actually a game of catch. It's actually a game of monkey in the middle. Isn't it ironic? They're throwing the ball over the monkey's head and he can't get it. Ironic that game is called monkey in the middle, isn't it?
For their own wrongdoing. You remember when they took down a statue of Robert E. Lee? Robert E. Lee was a Democrat.
Now, when will they put a statue of John Brown up? And will you like to tell these gentlemen about John Brown? Yeah, they took down Robert E. Lee, but they didn't put up a statue of John Brown. What you guys got to say about that?
So what are they trying to do? It looks like they're trying to erase their history.
No, dummy, they're trying to erase your history and you're buying into it. The reason why they're taking down the statues and getting rid of critical race theory and not teaching about things like the Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre is because all of that stuff does the same things. If you take away a giant picture or a giant mural of a white man who killed a bunch of black people, then guess what? There goes the evidence. You take the teachings out of the classes, then guess what? There goes the evidence. They're the same damn thing. Taking down the Confederate statues is the same as removing CRT and teaching about the Tulsa, Oklahoma race riot from schools. It's the same thing. It's just packaged for different audiences. The dumb liberals that believe anything believe that they're actually getting rocks off getting a statue taken down when actually they're hiding evidence. The idiot conservatives that think that they're white and oppressed are also helping with removing that evidence by getting legislation in place to remove teachings about Wilmington, North Carolina, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, Florida, and all of those other places where black people were massacred out of the schools and packaging it as critical race theory. That's what's actually happening.
Covering their tracks because they don't want to be reminded of their racist history.
Oh, I bet that sounded real smart to a whole bunch of dumb people. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, especially when it comes to history. And it's funny that he's talking about liberals erasing history, while Republican states recently decided to stop teaching African American history.
And they all, yeah, actual African American history, not CRT, African American history.
And once again, I'm independent. But since he brought up history, roll the clip.
Today's Republican Party opposes big government. It's culturally conservative. Its demographic support is strongest among white voters, and it usually dominates elections in the South. The party's 2016 presidential nominee has been heavily criticized for inciting racial tensions. But things weren't always this way. Over the past 160 years or so, the party has undergone a remarkable transformation from the party of Abraham Lincoln to the party of Donald Trump.
And there's actually, this is not true. This is already starting out inaccurate because Abraham Lincoln was a staunch racist who also believed bell curve ideology that black people were inherently stupid and he didn't want them intermixing with the white culture. This was quoted by Abraham Lincoln, and you can look it up. It's in the Smithsonian. So there's no difference between Abraham Lincoln and Trump at all. Who cares that it was the party of Abraham Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln didn't do shit except for release a bunch of property from the South that made it profitable as a punishment. He did the property release that was called the Emancipation Proclamation. The property release that made the South release property, which was slaves. That's what he did. No more, no less. That's what he did. Okay. He's not a white savior. He didn't give a shit about you. John Brown was a good white man who actually gave a shit about you that they don't teach about. That's why I need to watch my video on John Brown.
Trump. To understand how the GOP got this way, you have to go back to when it first came into existence in 1854, just 7 years before the Civil War. There are two parties at this point, the Whigs and the Democrats. America is quickly expanding westward, and there's an intense debate over whether or not new states should permit slavery. The Democratic Party, with strong support in the South, has become increasingly pro-slavery. But the Whigs are divided on the issue. Their northern supporters are really afraid that the growing number of slave states would have too much political influence, which they feared could really hurt free white workers economically.
So the government didn't end slavery because it was the right thing to do.
They ended slavery because it was affecting white people negatively. Exactly. So the only reason why you are free, black people, is because your enslavement started to affect white people negatively. This is what I say. Black people have never fought for anything in this country. We never earned anything in this country. The only thing that we ever get is breadcrumbs from infighting between white supremacists. That's it. No more, no less.
You see, all Caucasian people didn't own slaves, and the Caucasians that couldn't afford slaves had to work. But why would someone pay a Caucasian to work when you could just buy a slave and never pay the slave? Also notice that the Democrats originally resided in the South.
So in 1854, the country is debating whether or not the territories of Kansas and Nebraska should allow slavery. The Whigs can't agree, and the party ends up collapsing. The former Whigs in the North form a new party that will fight against letting slavery expand any further. They call it the Republican Party. By 1860, the Republican Party has become increasingly powerful in the North. Enough so that a little-known Republican named Abraham Lincoln wins the presidency.
So you see, when you hear Republicans say they're the party of Lincoln, technically it's true. But come on now, this is Lincoln's electoral map.
And Lincoln wasn't an in lover. Lincoln was a racist. See, this is why white people want to try to control the definition of racist, because then they can say, well, this person wasn't racist. This person wasn't racist by your white definition of racism. Lincoln clearly stated that black people do not need to be part of society and that they are inherently dumb and savage. That's racist. But as long as we control the definition of the word, then, you know, we can just, I'm white and I say so, and male-splain all over the place. No, that's not going to work. Sorry.
Lincoln won all the northern states, and that video explains it all. So Republicans today are not the party of Lincoln. And I won't bore you with the history lesson, but I left the video link in the description if you want to learn. And the funny thing is, a couple guys in their chat already knew their history.
The party's absolutely flipped. If you need proof, just look at the election map and say 1954 and prior compared to 2020. The answer will jump at you. Okay. The Sikh Nova. What do you?
They don't want to talk about that though.
And then no, Hotep sucker the values. The two parties represented change over time. The Marxist Democrats of the past are the Republicans of today. Nice try. OJ, you want to respond to that?
I don't respond to people who aren't on my level intellectually.
Oh shit. Okay.
Which is interesting because he tried to right there. He copped a part of something that I can't remember if it was either Henry Fuller or John Henrik Clark said, and Henry and both of them would be disgusted at the stuff that you're saying. Unbelievable.
All right, Kal-El, dope to see Hotep back. Just
I know this ain't gonna work, but the next time my wife catches me in a lie, I'ma just say
I don't respond to people who aren't on my level intellectually.
And guys, I just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and if you think I'm making it up, just know
I don't respond to people who aren't on my level intellectually.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but
that's called Mayo-splaining. That's called Hillman's. Okay, that's called Mayo-splaining, aka I'm white and I say so. You got all this, Mayo-linated Myron sitting there with Zaddy and Hotep Jesus, Hotep Sambo over there. He don't, Zaddy don't need to say anything. I didn't say anything. I was sitting there for observation purposes. I was studying the monkeys. I was, studying the primates at the table to see if the conditioning was effective.
But I will say it because a lot of people ask me about this. I know this conversation is probably going to get hated on by Black Twitter or whatever it may be, but I'm just going to say it.
Black Twitter ain't thinking about your ass. Listen, Black Twitter ain't thinking about me. If Black Twitter ain't thinking about me, they definitely ain't thinking about your ass. What the fuck would they think about your ass for? You don't like Black women at all. You know what I'm saying? Like at all. You know what I mean? Like you just start going in on Black women for no motherfucking reason. You're not Black for one. You know what I mean? And for two, what do you do that Black Twitter would even be watching for you? What the fuck do you do? Black Twitter is not gonna say anything about you because you're not even in the realm of conversation. Why the fuck would anybody say anything about you? You've never trended on Black Twitter. We laugh at you when you say stupid shit like this and act as if people are supposed to get offended. But then the only thing that happens is we just remind you how little of a fuck we give about what you say. You're not influential. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not Jason Black. You're not Tariq Nasheed. You're not Umar Johnson. You're not Dr. Claude Anderson. Nobody paying attention to what the fuck you're saying, except for content creation purposes like this. Important people don't care about what the fuck you're doing. That's why everyday average motherfuckers are making videos about you, roasting you every day. Important people don't need to say shit.
Racism is almost self-perpetuated. And what I mean by that is that
now he's an idiot. And like I've always said, though, a broken clock is always right twice a day. All right. So this is the first time that this broken clock is about to be right, because I do agree with that to an extent. And if you guys want to have a video or a panel about that one day, I'd be more than happy to, but I do believe that an element of racism is self-perpetuated. And the reason why I believe that racism is self-perpetuated is because we grew up in a culture that ultimately hates Black people. And since our culture was erased from us by the people who instilled the new culture, the same way they have an element of subconscious racism, as a reflective element of that subconscious racism, we have a subconscious element of self-hate. That's why we always talk about dark-skinned people. That's why dark-skinned people don't like lighter-skinned people. That's why we have idiotic terms like good hair. What do you mean, lice? What do you mean, lice-compatible hair? Is that what you mean? Because how is anybody's hair better or worse than anybody else? The only difference is one kind is lice-compatible and the other kind isn't. So if you're gonna call it something different, then call it exactly what it is. That's not racist. That's just, it is just what it is. But the problem is that when you correct the racism behind those terms, it sounds really offensive. Oh, well, people were offended by this shit for 400 years. It's just going to be the pain of growing. You either deal with it or you don't. But the reason why there is an element of racism, again, there's Black cops, like the Black cop in Chicago that beat the crap out of another Black man. The racism is self-perpetuating because inside of every Black person is a brewing element of self-hate that's baked in from the trickle down society that we were raised in. We have no control over that. The only thing that we can do is identify it and work to try to correct it. But it's ingrained into us. It's part of our DNA. Our DNA matrix, for the most part, as Black people born in America, is European, indigenous, and Black, African, which means that these sediments are baked into our DNA and they're baked into our culture. So the only way that we can deal with it is if we get treatment.
And I'll use the African American community as an example, because as much as you guys want to say you are an African American, I actually am. My parents are from Sudan, which is in Africa, and then I came here. Then they came here in the 80s, and I was born in the United States.
So that means that Elon Musk is African American. Cool.
Which I'm the definition of African American.
He's more African than me.
Yeah.
Did you see the talking turd over there? He got asking me.
Barbados dudes want to sit here and be like, I'm whatever. It is what it is. And here's another thing too. Like, it just because you're not a part of a race does not necessarily mean that you're not able to speak on that race. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's like me saying like, that's like.
You literally just said that about minorities talking about white men. Like you literally just did that. So it's okay for every other race to talk about Black people, but it's just not okay for Black people to talk for ourselves. Got it.
That's like me as a man saying like, oh, I can't speak on you know, female situations. Absolutely, I can. And, you know, you can speak on anything if you're educated to it to an extent where you know what you're talking about. What I will say is this: yes, there were horrible things that happened in the past, the United States, slavery, etc. It is what it is, right? But what I will say is that we're at a time and place now where you can rework the path. You know, we're in a position right now where we have situations that allow people to progress. You know, you got affirmative action, whatever it may be. And, you know, we have corrected to a degree. Have we corrected 100%? I'm not going to say that.
But didn't he just say we've overdone it earlier?
What I will say is that a lot of people like to say, it's the man, it's the white guy. They like to point fingers at everyone else except for themselves, okay?
I agree. Yes, I wish life was fair, but it's not. And like I said, if we have to work twice as hard, I'm going to outwork them.
Stop the cap.
Exactly. I outwork everybody. I was superior to everyone in my college classes around me, and it pissed people off. And I enjoyed every moment of that bubbling anger they endured when they looked at me and saw that I was the one who was the greatest one in the class. That is an amazing feeling. And I'd advise everybody try to endure that feeling before they die.
Yeah, I was tired.
The victim mindset is continuously perpetuated. And I will say this too. It's completely okay. We've had on this podcast women come in, you know, colored women. Oh, that white boy, he's a C and with ER, right? The racial derogatory term for a Caucasian person, right?
That's a racial derogatory term. But while you sit around and let these people say dindus and shit like that. So now we just anything is anything. That's cool. And that's why I talk the way that I talk. White people get to call people dindus, spear chuckers, N-words, you know, all of that stuff, all of that good stuff, all of the little dog whistles that they use. So I just, you know, I said, you know, fuck it. I'm going to start saying everything that somebody says is male explanation. I'm going to start saying Zaddy and, you know, Karen and Brad and Chad and everything else. I'm going to do the exact same thing since we're doing the freedom of speech thing. Why not? Why not? Right? Why not?
Completely acceptable to call white people Graham Sears, right?
So y'all say the N-word, but you won't say cracker? Interesting.
Right. Very interesting. Good call on that, bro.
And then they start talking about police, which is interesting because allegedly he used to be an FBI agent. Roll the clips.
My name is Amber Fuddle. I was a former special agent of Homeland Security Investigations. I worked for the agency since 2010 as an intern. I did criminal investigations. I resigned from the job in 2020. Okay,
So he's a far right government infiltrate into social media. And if you guys recall, I've been saying I think that this red pill shit is on some COINTELPRO shit. You know what I'm saying? I've been said that.
Organic.
Yo,
I'm
I'm out.
Yo. So imagine an interview with Mr. Organic and his past life next to Myron is like, oh shit.
You guys want to know something real? You guys want to know why I'm so tight with Mr. Organic?
Yeah.
Because we literally lived on opposite sides of the law. I used to literally investigate the crimes that he used to commit.
Oh man. Three of them, Mr.
Shout
Organic,
out
man.
to my man, Mr. Organic, bro. That's my
God.
brother right there, man.
God, man.
What? Well, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
So like I'm new to the States, right? I've been here 6 years. And my mom always told me, Walter, when you go to the States, be careful. You might get shot by cops. And I'm like, why would I get shot by cops? I'm not gonna say anything crazy. And what happens is I see all the time on these videos, people are like, yo, I'm not showing you my ID. Who the hell are you? Why you pulling over?
Oh man, somebody needs to get Tariq Nasheed this clip right here, man. Oh, he'll love this for the non-FBA archives. Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah. I got pulled over 3 times, right, bro? 2 were white guys and one was a black cop, right? 2 white guys. I was like, yo, 2 white guys. I was like, yo, hey officer, how's it going? What did I do wrong? Okay, cool, no problem. Like, you know what? Have a good night, sir. You cool about it? Everybody's cool, happy, right?
What about Elijah McClain? Did they do the same thing for Elijah McClain?
But the black cop was like, black chick was like, yo, like I'm having a bad day. Fuck it, I'm gonna give you a ticket.
First state lying. He was probably speeding. The black cop pulled him over and gave him a ticket. But I'm pretty sure they didn't say I'm having a bad day.
So, but see, it's how I approach the the scenario. Yeah, I wasn't mean and telling him like, oh, this and that. I was like, you know what?
Look at the male splaining in the chat. Look at the Twitch Nazi male splaining. Hold on real quick.
And gave him a ticket. But I'm pretty sure they didn't say I'm having a bad day.
Most colored folks don't care about the N-word, but have been molded and taught to argue with someone not of color for saying it, even outside of a bad manner. If that's not male-splaining, I don't know what the hell is. That's extra whipped male-splaining. Like, get the fuck out of here.
So, but see, it's how I approach the the scenario. Yeah, I wasn't mean and telling him like, oh, this and that. I was like, you know what? Good day, officer. I was going, boom, boom, boom. But it's how I approached it. Yeah. So I just feel like it's always accountability on the person's part.
Yeah.
Not always the other
they're
gender.
Complaining about what happened, but what they don't realize is a lot of the times when these shootings happen, these altercations happen, it came because the person was aggressive in the beginning. And the thing is, guys, you got to remember that police officers are trained in the United States to meet force with a force just above it to subdue the problem.
And that's the problem. Most people aren't criminals. So why are you using excessive force for everyday citizens? I'm happy Myron and Fresh haven't experienced being racially profiled. But you see, I grew up in New York City during the stop and frisk era. I've literally been slammed by the police for no reason. And I'm not gonna lie, I cried a few times. And after they assaulted me, no apology. They just said, oh, you fit the description. One time.
Yeah, what is the description? You fit the description of the American plague. A black person.
8 police run towards me. They were literally a block away. So I moved to the side and waited because I'm a good kid and I didn't want to interfere with them doing their job. But when they caught up to me, 50 seconds later, they slammed me. And I'm pleading with them, asking them why they slammed me. Because I was simply standing there, not going anywhere. And one of the cops said, shut up. You fit the description. Give me your ID. And after they let me go, 5 minutes later, my friend comes limping up the block. Same thing happened to him. But he was light-skinned and 6'2" with braids. And I'm brown-skinned, 5'10" with waves.
How many times have you been stopped and frisked?
7 times.
7 times?
Yes, sir.
And you're how old?
17.
Man, listen, if I started telling y'all stories, we'd be here all day. So I'm gonna move on.
And why don't they talk about the white liberal that put into place stop and frisk? Because they don't really care about none of this shit. All they want to do is just get into your mind.
So people will never understand the issues and problems that law enforcement officers come into play, where their life is on the line and they don't fucking know you. They don't know what's in the car. They don't know what's going on. All they know is that this person is acting extremely aggressive off of something that's minuscule, and we didn't have to go with that. We got to have some accountability here. It's not because of the color of your skin. It's because of the way that you acted after the fact. If he comes in and he has preconceived notions,
there's no black person that's ever gone silent when reminded that white people are a race. Everybody knows that white people are a race. Black people don't have any property, plant, or utility to economically apply racism to any other race in the world. There's not one black person who would ever stay silent and not respond the way that I did for saying that. So like this dude right here in this comment, Marvin Am, is just lying. Like these people literally live in delusion. And the thing is that, you know, the red pill is delusion. It's supposed to get you out of the matrix. But again, remember, like I said, you know, Cypher took a red pill. So we're dealing with Cypher red pill. There's two different kinds of red pill. There's Neo red pill and Cypher red pill. I could rock with Neo red pill. I can't rock with Cypher red pill. And what you see is that, you know, red pill and racism go hand in hand. And most of these people are Cypher red pill.
Questions about colored people don't perpetuate the stereotype.
You're making it worse.
You're making it worse.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
real quick at the super chats, and I love the chat. The chat's
they go
divided.
crazy,
some of them,
man.
Some of them are like, "Oh, Myron, you're all for fresh. You guys are cool." Blah, blah, blah. Guys, what I'm saying is this: there's good police officers, there's bad police officers.
I agree. And here's an unpopular belief: being a cop is a tough job. But you spoke of accountability. But what about the accountability for the bad cops? See, there is none, which makes it hard for people to trust all cops. Because how do I know if that cop is a good cop or a bad one? The same way he doesn't know if I'm a criminal or a good guy.
But you want to know something? When they pull you over and you act crazy, you act crazy, what you're basically doing is you're forfeiting control of the situation to them. You're giving them leverage to fuck you up.
Yep.
You're giving them leverage to escalate force. And what you need to do is always stay at the lowest level possible so they have very little leverage to fuck with you.
Yep.
You understand, guys? I'm actually giving you guys the power by telling.
This Eric Smith person says Myron is correct to say that the odds are stacked against white men. Instead of putting up with this, we are ditching the Western world and moving to other places. So you all have heard that there's a certain movement of black people who are doing the same thing. So again, this is what I'm telling you guys when it comes to this dumbass shit. Is all about red pill racism. All they do is just trickle down and mimic the same things that they hear their zaddies say when they sit in these little sewing circles. It's literally the same shit. And the odds are not stacked against the people that own every damn thing. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. The odds are stacked against people that can't do simple mathematics, which is clearly Eric Smith.
Telling you not to react.
Yep.
For all you guys out there that want to be, oh, pro-black, blah, blah, blah. Martin Luther King got a lot of things done by being peaceful.
No, Martin Luther King, don't make me start going in on Martin Luther King because I don't like doing that, but I can definitely go in on Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King didn't get anything done except for a holiday awarded and assassinated. Martin Luther King's whole goal was to get reparations, and he did not get that done. He also had regrets and felt that integration was a roadblock to getting reparations. It was a distraction that was put in front of him, and he felt bad that he fell for it. He had regrets. Now, why don't you go pull up on your computer screen and smash your zaddy that you have sitting at the table with you face into it so he can read the letter about Martin Luther King leading black people into a burning building. But you wouldn't know about that. Being from Sudan, that's some foundational black American shit that we dealt with here. That's not part of anything you're doing. You're over there busy selling other black people to Muslims.
Why? Because he understood that by being peaceful, you're gonna be able to get things done. It is what it is, man.
No, the he didn't. I have so much respect for the MLK generation because I am not that tough. I don't know if I'd be out there with them marching and getting my ass whooped. I'm just being honest.
And see, that's real. That's real for confident creator to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like I got respect. Anybody can sit there and sound tough, and you know what I'm saying? Like, but for him to actually come and say, you know, I don't know if I'll be all about that, man. That's real, man. That's one of the reasons why I mess with him.
But Martin Luther King got things done because he was able to leverage the black dollar simply by boycotting. So he hit them where it hurt, their pockets. And he also leveraged the media. You see, if black people were getting beat up and no one saw it, no one would care. But with the power of the media, the world saw it. And it was embarrassing. And the same thing is happening now.
And they need to be continuously embarrassed. And they need to be embarrassed out of power, period. So that's one of the reasons why people need to hurry up and get things together and stop infighting, come together and create our own infrastructures of technology and media.
The cell phone and body cameras. Bad police are being held accountable.
And I'll say this, like the protocol, like the reason why I'm saying like, don't escalate the situation, keep it calm. You know, if you got to record the situation, I'm not saying don't protect yourself. What I am saying is that the rules are the rules, and the way police procedure is the way it is.
Yeah.
So
we should try to improve it so people will over time learn to trust the cops again. And cops can do their job.
Feelings. I'm telling you how to deal with the whiz. They are going to escalate. They are going to fuck you up. They are going to, don't give them an excuse to fuck you up.
You should have took that same advice and not spoke on Preacher's wife. Because now
You getting fucked
you
up.
So if you want to see why Myron and Fresh might get their ass whipped, check out my Myron Gaines Exposed video. I'm out.
Dope video. As always, from my man, Confidence Creator. And again, this is what they do to black YouTubers because I've subscribed to this channel like 6 times. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you subscribe. Confidence Creator. All right?
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go over there to Confidence Creator and smash the like. I'll leave a link in the description box. Share this video out to all of your followers, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. All right, peace.